Hi, my name is Leah Thompson. I go by Leah T Codes on social media, and I will be speaking at React Day by Frontend Nation. I'll be giving a talk on using React with Inertia.js, where people can learn about what Inertia.js is and how it can make front-end development fast. I hope you join us. It's a free virtual event, so I hope you join. I feel like that's a hard question to answer. But I know when I started learning React, it was in 2022. So it was before the new docs came out. Like at the time, they were still in beta version. So whenever I was starting to use React, the official documentation still had class-based components versus the functional ones. So I would say like we've evolved from that now. Like even back then, it was still functional components were like still more popular, but class-based components, there were still tutorials and stuff like that out there for them. Whereas I feel like we've moved way farther away from those now, where like people joining React, if they're new to it, probably haven't heard of class-based components. So I would say that's a big way it's evolved. Also, I think Next.js has just gotten even bigger since I've been using React, and all of the like server-side rendered components and stuff like that. That's like way bigger now than it was at the time. I feel like I'm really basic. Just like this, the hooks, I would say. I don't know, just React in general, like the hooks, the reactivity, that's the stuff I can't live without. Like right now I'm building landing pages using Blade and Alpine.js, and I'm just like, wow, I wish I had React. I know exactly how I do this in React using the hooks and stuff like that. So that's my very basic answer, but I think it's exciting that React is so like mainstream and that it's so widely used on the front end, because that just shows me that it's going to continue getting better. You know, that so many people are using it, that like Next.js, it uses React, and Next.js is so big now and commonly used in like companies and enterprise companies and stuff like that. That excites me, that it's just going to continue adapting cool features because so many people use it. I don't actually know with this one. And I feel like this is like a non-answer because it's not React, but I feel like using tools like Inertia.js and stuff like that is probably less known, which isn't a React specific thing. But I feel like that is like less known and more people should know about it, because it would probably make more people want to use React or JavaScript, like React or Vue on the front end, if they knew that they could just use Inertia.js to connect their backend to it easier and write a monolith, like because there's adapters for like it's built mainly for Laravel, fine-tuned for Laravel, but there's adapters to use it with Ruby on Rails, I think Django and stuff like that. So I feel like that would make more people want to use, like build like a Laravel backend and a React front-end application. So I would say Inertia.js, even though that isn't a React specific thing. I would say just trying to get used to the like reusability part. So trying to get used to breaking up your application into components. I feel like that was really hard for me at first when building. I was used to just building this like huge project, everything's together, and I'm like, how do I break it up into chunks? So I would say just getting used to that really will help you write like efficient React code, because it's really all about having your components and having it be modular, you know? So just kind of getting in the habit of doing that is a great way to kind of like, if you just, even if you just write out your component first, like what you're trying to build, and then after you build it, try to think, okay, how can I break this up into smaller parts? Like, how can I make it more reusable and break it up into separate components? That I think is a good way to get, write more efficient React code. I feel like if I weren't in tech, I'd be doing like bioinformatics, which is still, I think, kind of like tech. I'd be doing something like that. My background's actually in mathematics. So I have a bachelor's of science in math from the University of Florida. So I would want to keep doing math and keep doing something applied, so something with statistics, but I think bioinformatics. I feel like it's more just a skill, but probably communicating. So before getting into tech, I worked as a high school geometry teacher for a year and a half. As a teacher, you constantly are having to communicate with the students, with the other teachers, with your admin, with the parents. And I feel like doing that, like communicating and also having to break down hard concepts, really is something that's helped me. Also, when teaching, I realized that if you teach other people something, it helps solidify those concepts in your head. So like, even as I'm learning new concepts, I'll teach them to people. So I'll post about them online or stream them. And I think that's helped me kind of get better at programming and stuff like that. And that's a skill that I learned through teaching. Okay, maybe this is career advice too. This is also like general advice with tech, I think, is that you're really never going to feel ready for applying for jobs. And that's something that I was told like when going through like the boot camp program I did to learn web development, that you're never really going to feel like you're ready to apply for jobs and to interview for jobs, because especially me, I know a lot of people have it too, but I get really bad like imposter syndrome. And so I always felt like I would hold myself back from applying and stuff like that. And finally just having to be like, hey, like having to think, like step back and think of it logically, like this is all that I've done. This is what I know. It's like I am ready, and just making myself do it, like making myself apply for jobs and interview. And then I got a job like a month or 2 months after that. So I would just say the advice to kind of like, you're never fully going to feel ready. Just do it. Just go out and do it. I feel like I had pretty good advice when I was starting in tech, mainly because my husband majored in computer science. So he was already working in tech as I started learning it. So I got like advice from people online, but also from my husband who was in the industry. But I would say when you're starting out, it becomes a point when like, so you start and you're like, I don't know anything. And then you start learning, you're like, oh, I know everything. And just knowing like, no, there's so much in tech, you'll never know everything. Like you just won't. There is always expanding. There's so many technologies. Like you don't know everything, but it's more so that you're proficient in what technology you're trying to use. I think also like a good advice that I'd want to know when starting out in tech is there's a bunch of different technologies. Don't feel like you have to learn all of them, because you're not going to be able to learn all of them. Just pick a stack and stay with that. Just build projects, do stuff with that, stay in that stack. Don't try to jump around, because I did. I tried to jump around a little bit and I just overcomplicated things. I made it way more complicated for myself. I watch a lot of Disney movies over and over again. Like I'll watch Coco like 5 times a week. It's not really a guilty pleasure, but like I just watch it nonstop. And Inside Out too. I've watched it so many times. I would say like I guess guilty pleasure. I like watching like Too Hot to Handle, Love is Blind, the like trash TV shows like that. It's like sometimes if I'm like had like a rough week, it's like I just need to watch someone else's drama, so I'll just put that on.